Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my review of this knife. This is the Hoffman Richter Wolf fixed blade, and you are at the We All Juggle Knives channel. By the way, we've got a lot of usage footage coming up. So the blade length on this is 4 inches. Your blade steel is 440C. The price tag on this was $30. I will include a link. It's got some jimping on a thumb rest there. It has a large finger choil. It is an extra wide drop point, full flat grind. It's got an extended tang. I have some paracord on my handle, and I will explain why I did that later in the video. It's got a lanyard hole, and that extended tang can be used as a glass breaker. At least that's what they say. Alright, let's do some stuff with this knife. So this first task you're seeing, I'm going to baton 2 parallel grooves into the piece of wood and then remove the intervening material. This is that same squared off type of notch that I've shown in many different videos. It's just a good little task. People want to see the knife doing things. I want to show it doing as many tasks as possible. Right, so this is a convenient little warm-up for us. Right, but let's talk about this brand, Hoffman Richter. They seem to be a budget brand. I tried to find some information on them. They do have a website. Their stuff is manufactured in China. I guess that's why the prices are low. This fixed blade was $30. Budget or not, I'm going to review it seriously. I'm going to try to do a lot of stuff with it and put it to the test, right? So after a little cleanup, there is the squared off notch that it made, right? But Hoffman Richter seems to have some folders on Amazon that are like $10. I chose to review the fixed blade because I can just do more with a fixed blade. Here it is making an easier type of notch. Just some more woodwork. Right, but they have some $10 folders that looked kind of interesting. I will include a list of links of all their different stuff, and you can just browse it at your leisure. So the way I found out about this knife is I was browsing Essie knives, and Essie happens to have a knife that's around the same length as this. There's my notch, yet another notch on the notch stick. Alright, harvesting some bark. But as I was saying, Essie has a knife that's around this size, and that is also 440C, right? But the Essie knife was around $125. And then Amazon, with its like automatic suggestions, they flashed a picture of this knife, and I said, you know, this is a $30 knife. I should test it out for people because I know people have seen this and they will want to know if it's worth a try. So we will find that out. You know, and the people that want made in the USA, go ahead and buy the Essie. I mean, I'm not stopping you from spending $125 on 440C if you really want to. Alright, here it is, using it as a striker. That's my ferro rod. Those are some shavings I had from Whittling, and I also have some of that bark underneath them. So this can be used as a striker. It wasn't as efficient as a striker as what actually comes with the fire steel, just a separate striker, but some people don't want to carry anything extra. They want their knife to be able to do it all. So this can be used as a striker, and it took a little while. It was pretty windy. It took a little while for the fire to get going, but hey, what would a bushcraft video be without like some form of fire? Not that this is instructional or anything, but there are many bushcrafters out there, and I try to cater to them. I mean, I try to show them things they wish to see. Alright, here it is making some kindling. Not going to go too crazy with the batoning. Those are pretty small pieces. It's a fairly short knife, so there's only going to be a little bit sticking out, so there's a limit to the thickness of the pieces. But nonetheless, you can make some kindling if you wish to, if that's important to you. Now there's a little knot on the top piece of that piece of wood, as you see, so I just pounded it through that knot. So this knife could be a camp knife, hunting knife, field knife. Probably not like a specialized bushcraft knife, just because most bushcrafters do not prefer that finger choil. But, you know, if you're using it as a camp knife, you might do some bushcraft of opportunity with the knife, right? So, yeah, it's basically a mid-sized outdoor fixed blade. So there it made kindling pretty well. It's a pretty strong knife. Here it is slicing up an apple. I did speed up this footage. Trying to think of tasks you might do if you maybe were hiking, backpacking, whatever. I don't know. Would you carry an apple or some other fruit and maybe slice it up? I don't know. Maybe you're going with your kids and, you know, they won't eat it if you don't slice it. I don't know. That's why I don't have kids. They're too damn picky. No, just kidding. No, I can't have kids. I lost parts in the war. No. Just kidding again. I was not in a war, but actually, watching the news the other night, I'd say there's still time to be in a war for all of us, it seems. But so there's your apple slices, and just add some peanut butter to that, and you'll be good for your bulking diet. All right, here it is carving. Does pretty well. It's a carving task, and you see the slivers it makes, and you can use those for your tinder. And yeah, the outdoor tinder. No. Not that tinder you're thinking of, you promiscuous devil. No. Just kidding. But what are we making? Prison shank? No. Because we're not in prison. Freedom shank? I don't know. Nothing really. I just wanted you to see that it came sharp enough to whittle with. I actually did touch this up. It came pretty sharp, but I made it sharper. I'm going to show it cutting some paper, but I have to save that for later in the video, because if I show the paper cutting early, people just wig out and get triggered, and they can't take it, and they just have to tell me, like, it's not for paper. And it's like, you know, cutting paper doesn't prevent you doing a bunch of other stuff with it, but, you know, the internet dwellers are not always the most reasonable crowd. I, however, am very reasonable. Much like Hannibal Lecter, I just have my lines that I will not cross and some that I will. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, there you go. Some wooden icicles upside down. The next task, cutting some paracord. I had some paracord left over from the cord that I used on the handle of this knife. Figure this is a typical task. Maybe you're going camping and you need to cut some paracord. Maybe you're in the field in the military and you need to size some. Yeah, this blade shape, you know, the extra wide drop point, you'll see that everywhere. And the reason is because when you have a drop point, the wider you make the blade, the more belly the knife has, which then makes it useful for things like skinning and so forth. All right, here it is on some paper. This was before I cut the other stuff. All right, so there you go. Now that was after a 2-minute touch-up, right? That is my Spyderco Sharp Maker. So out of the box, it needed a little bit of a touch-up, 2-minute touch-up, and then it could cut the paper. So, you know, they should have done that at the factory, but it was no big deal to do that. All right, stab test or stab demo. I don't know what you want to call it, but put some wear and tear on that tip. That poor log. What did it do to you? It was born, and okay, that's just to prove. Sometimes people don't think you're stabbing it hard enough. Well, I mean, I can stab it hard enough that it's wedged in there so tightly that you can pick up the whole freaking log, and it will not fall off. So, yeah, I mean, I think I stabbed it pretty hard. You see that there? Yeah, get in your hammer curls with the log. I mean, you know, if you can't go to the gym, and you just do that. All right, the sheath, or should I say sheaths. You see that belt loop there? It's got a retaining strap. So that's just a soft, kind of cheap sheath, almost like an M-Tech sheath. All right, but it also comes with this sheath, which is a rigid sheath with eyelets and a belt loop. Now, with the original handle scales on, it actually does not, the sheath will not hold it in with the original handle scales, but with my paracord on it, the sheath actually works better than it originally did. Okay, so it comes with 2 sheaths, not the best sheaths, but you do get 2 of them. Speaking of the handle scales, these are the handle scales it came with. I removed them for 2 reasons. Number 1, they were very heavy. I mean, I don't care about weight usually, but they were extremely heavy. It was pretty crazy how heavy the knife was with them. And also they were smooth. Even with the texture, they didn't give good traction, right? So I replaced them with paracord. Of course, you don't have to do that. If you like those handle scales, just use it with the scales. But let me warn you, they are thick, and they just made the knife like extremely heavy, like more heavier than any knife of this size that I've had before. Okay, so that's the deal with the handle scales. So my final thoughts on this knife, it has pluses and minuses, but all the minuses were definitely understandable given the low price, $30. I do think I got my money's worth, but basically the sheaths were not that good. I did choose to modify the handle for the reasons I gave, and the edge needed about 2 minutes of love before it was just up to basic standard. But overall, yeah, I mean, for $30, it's a pretty good outdoor mid-sized fixed blade. You could definitely spend way more for the same steel. So, yeah, it's a good budget option. Like I said, that extra wide drop point, full flat grind, that configuration appears again and again and again with every brand is going to have their extra wide drop point because it works, because it's a useful configuration. All right, if you enjoy videos like this where the reviewer does a lot of different tasks and demonstrates the knife, feel free to subscribe. Check out the links in the text description box. If you shop through those links, it really helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.